beautiful quote. I should say there are a lot of quotes, but I have selected only a few for you. I'm going to read them for you. If you understand, good. If you don't understand, read it again and you will understand it. Lord Byron writes, "There is pleasure in the barbarous woods, there is rapture in the lonely shore, there is society where none intrudes, by the deep sea and music in its roar. I love not man the less, but nature more." Byron likewise gave expression to this sentiment in Childe Harold's Pilgrimage. He writes as follows, "I live not in myself, but I become portion of that around me. And to me, mountains are a feeling, but the hum of human cities torture. I can see nothing to loathe in nature, save to be a link, reluctant in a fleshy change." So, just one or two examples I gave you. You should type in Google Romanticism, okay? Quotes about nature, Romanticism, you can write. Or Romanticism quotes. If you say all the quotes, you can read and understand. It's excellent quotes. Brilliant writers, they come and give you. All right. The next one was Transcendentalism. That is also a part of the making of environmental ethics. So this is the environmental ethics we are talking about. There was a big search, human search, to make environmental ethics because nature was being destroyed. So people attempted through paintings, through art, through poems, through literature, through philosophy, through theology, to formulate environmental ethical writings. So that is the truth about it. So the second one is Transcendentalism. It came in the middle of the 19th century. So what is Transcendentalism? Yesterday I was talking to you in my sermon. We have to discover the God in creation. Didn't I say that? God of humans. So that is Transcendentalism. Actually, Transcendental God is outside nature. He is somewhere. But through the medium of nature, I go to Transcendental God. So that's the meaning of it. You understood? If you want to go to Transcendental God, it is meaningful to go through nature because I see God's revelation there. God is revealed in nature. So the Transcendental God I can see through nature. So that is the meaning of it. Okay, it was influenced by Romanticism, of course. Again, it is a celebration of individualism because you don't have to go to church anymore. There is no community, only individual. Did Jesus say that you close your windows and doors and you pray inside? It was against the community. Where there are 2 or 3 people are gathered in my name, that is a community oriented. This is individual oriented. So that teaching of Jesus Christ itself can be put in transcendentalism, individualism. It was expressed semi-religious feelings towards nature as well as the creative process and saw a direct connection or correspondence between the universe. That is called macrocosm and the individual soul, microcosm. So it was a time of search through mysticism and through nature. These are the great, great writers of Transcendentalism. Ralph Waldo, Emerson. You are going to Google each person separately. You have to type quotes by Ralph Waldo Emerson. You will get hundreds of quotes. Read them. Quotes by Henry David Thoreau. Read hundreds of them. Quotes about Margaret Fuller. Quotes by Theodore Parker. Quotes by Seminary. Quotes by Tolstoy. You just time. You'll get quotes and read them all. That is the best. You see, you know the macrocosm? Macrocosm is the universe. Microcosm is the individual. So there is a sutra in Tamil written by Tirumular in Tirumantram book. Andathil illadhu pindathil illai, pindathil illadhu andathil illai. So that is the sutra, which says you are the earth. Pinda means body, my body. I am the earth. Andam means being earth. In Andam there is 70% water. Pindam also 70% water in your body, 70%. There 20% land on the Andam. Pindam also 20%. We have carbon. So we have got bones. There also some other 5% is the fire and ether and air. Your body also. Same. Also in the water, in the Andam 3.5% salt. And in your body, water also 3.5% salt. Your body also looks exactly like planet Earth. There is ups and downs. There are rivers. There are deserts. There are mountains. There are big mountains. There are little forests. There is a big rainforest. So, andathillal, pindathillai, pindathillal, andathillai. All the ecosystems, Kurindi, Mullai, Marudam, Neidal, Palai, all of them are not out there. It is in your body. So, earthquake also not there. Earthquake is here. You really quake and ache when something happens to your father, mother, friends, and so on. And also volcanoes are not there. Volcanoes are within you. The anger, the lust, the greed, the violence. So here, inside, here, in Finland, tsunami not there happening. Tsunami is happening right here in your kingdom. When you get mad and throw stuff out. So that is called macrocosm, microcosm. In other words, I am the planet Earth. That is outer. This is inner. I am the replica or the reflection of the universe. You understand now? So that is what the Transcendentalism taught. So I am the earth. God lives in me. You know, we say God lives, He is present in the universe. Once I become a universe, the same God can be found in me. Naturally, we can argue, isn't it? So that is what the Transcendentalism was all about. Some of the quotes of at the time I want to read to you. Actually, I want to give three famous authors. You should study in Wikipedia first, and then look for the books, and you write the names of the authors so that you can ask the librarian to order some books for you. See there, Henry David Thoreau. Henry David Thoreau. He is the famous author. He wrote a book called Walden. See there, Walden? Or Life in the Woods. So that is the book what you need. It's a beautiful book. Mahatma Gandhi read the book and then he devised that Sarvodaya, Swaraj and Swadeshi concepts. So Mahatma Gandhi's mentor, Henry David Thoreau. He is an American. He's an American nature writer. There are three giant writers I will introduce to you. If you are aiming to be a doctor later on, or a PhD, or MA in ecology, these are the three authors you have to study. Only one I have given now. Henry David Thoreau. Other two I will give you in a short while. So unless you study these three authors, you can never become ecologist or environmentalist or geologist. Never ever. These are the three world-renowned authors. Every ecologist has to go through them. These are the giant writers. So it was a time of industrial revolution. There was widespread replacement of manual labor by machines in England. It led to the growth of the cities, it led to the high economic growth, it led to the excessive consumption, it led to the fossil fuel use, and also it led naturally to the destruction of nature. Ralph Waldo Emerson, actually, he is a writer and he writes beautiful. There is one quote there: "See nature a temple for communing with spiritual world." He calls nature itself as a temple. We can commune with God. In the presence of nature, a wild delight runs through the man in spite of real sorrows. That is the book called Nature. Right, Ralph Waldo Emerson. The book name is Nature. If you find, you can order it. You cannot find, but you will find it in Amazon. Okay, this is another quote of Ralph Waldo Emerson. "Earth laughs and flowers. The great nature in which we rest, that unity, that oversoul within which every man's particular being is contained and made one with all the other. We live in succession, in division, in parts, in particles. Meantime, within man is the soul of the holy, the wise silence, the universal beauty, to which every part and particle is equally related, the eternal one." Did I say God, human, nature, all one? It's a Garden of Eden. So that is Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu, all of them are one. In every moment, those three actions are taking place. Atoms, our cells are being copied each and every second. Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu, going on. Creation, preservation, destruction. Creation, preservation, destruction. Every moment it's going on. So we are all the time one. God and us and creation. It is any separation is an illusion. So if you are thinking that I am in the classroom, it's an illusion. And you are thinking I am in the chapel, it's an illusion. In room, illusion. We are in nature all the time, with God also in us. So that is how these great writers saw the natural world. Henry Thoreau's quote here, he says, "In wilderness is the preservation of the world." See, our future is in the preservation of nature. Yes. Pope Benedict wrote, "If you want to cultivate peace, protect creation." That's it. If you want to cultivate peace, protect creation. That's a brilliant writing. So the same thing was written by Henry David Thoreau almost 200 years before Benedict. In wilderness is the preservation of the world. This is the second giant writer. Okay? First I told you Henry David Thoreau. Number 2 is John Muir. So this is the famous giant writer. You have to read, at least you should know the name. First go to Wikipedia and you read and understand who he is. He is the famous writer, American writer. And he wrote Transcendental Preservation Ethics. In other words, he started conserving trees, forest. There is one national park in America, it is called Redwood National Park. Those are the giant trees, 375 feet tall. They are from 300 years to 800 years old. They are about 500 trees. They exist only there. 375 feet tall. At the bottom, first 100 feet, the leaves, they look different. 100 to 200 feet, that tree, same tree, the leaves will look entirely different. You go 200 feet, entirely another type of leaves. It is a miracle. So those trees, they were cutting them down. So this is the man who went and made them understand, and then he protected them, and the law was passed. So it is named after his name, John Muir, Redwood Forest. So I visited it in 2009. You should type redwoods in your YouTube, and you will see those trees, mighty trees. All right. He wrote about the aesthetic and spiritual values were greater than materialistic gains from exploitation. Didn't I say that material wealth and cultural wealth, they are useless? They come from biological. So the same thing is saying, materialistic gain from exploitation. The aesthetic, that's biological wealth, and spiritual value, he says, are greater than materialistic gains from exploitation. Nature had intrinsic value beyond human need. Destroying nature was destroying God's work. So he founded Sierra Club and Yosemite National Park, and today we have the Redwood National Park in America. See, most people are on the world, not in it. See, while they were destroying those redwood forests, he wrote this second quote. God has cared for these trees, saved them from drought, disease, avalanches, and 1,000 tempests and floods, but he cannot save them from fools. That is human beings. It's a satire quote, really. It's very, very comedy, is there. God saved them from all the dangers, but only with this species he can't save anything. This species destroys everything. That is the meaning of it. So you type John Muir quotes and you read. We continue to read some more quotes of John Muir. In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks. Morning I took my camera. I went to film monkeys, but I came across some beautiful birds, snakes, mice, birds, other type of water birds, and iguanas. I went to film only monkeys, but I got all of them. As you buy one, you get another one free. That time, that's what he writes. In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks. He writes about our humans. We were formed by soil. You are dust, and to dust you shall return. Not only you, every form. That makes us equal. That's the argument. It puts both. If you are made in soil, even monkey is made in the soil, even snake is made in the soil. So that means we all become brothers and sisters. So they are not inferior. We are all equal. So that's a quote. From the dust of the earth, from the common elementary fund, the Creator has made Homo sapiens. From the same material He has made every other creature, however noxious and insignificant to us. They are earth-born companions and our fellow mortals. Another giant writer, Waldo. So this is the man. So that completes the list of 3 giant writers. That is David Henry Thoreau, John Muir, Waldo. Waldo is exclusively land ethics writer. Land ethics writer. He particularly writes about what is soil, stones, etc., etc. Even today, nobody can go near him. He is a brilliant writer. And today's philosophers marvel at his skill now. How did he write? It's a brilliant book. Some of the excerpts I want to read. Conservation is getting nowhere because it is incompatible with our Abrahamic concept of land. We abuse land because we regard it as a commodity belonging to us. When we see land as a community to which we belong, we may begin to use it with love and respect. Ethical behavior is doing the right thing when no one else is watching. even when doing the wrong thing is legal. Only the mountains has lived long enough to listen objectively to the howl of the wolf. So the second quote, the last word in ignorance is the man who says of an animal or plant, what good is it? If the land mechanism as a whole is good, then every part is good, whether we understand it or not. If the biota in the course of eons has built something we like but do not understand, then who but a fool would discard seemingly useless parts to keep every cog and wheel is the first precaution of intelligent tinkering. The modern dogma is comfort at any cost. This is my favorite quote. Waldo writes as follows, the land ethic simply enlarges the boundaries of the community to include soils, waters, plants and animals, or collectively the land. In short, a land ethic changes the role of Homo sapiens from conqueror of the land community to plain member and citizen of it. It implies respect for his fellow members and also respect for the community as such. The best quote in the whole week, I would say. The best ethical quote. Even today, I am 68 years old. This is my favorite quote in the whole world. Okay. Better than Bible. This is the quote I treasure. Such a lovely quote. This is lot of wisdom. See, he talks about ethics of dominion ethics, Homo sapiens, stewardship ethics, creation-centered ethics. He just rejects. And after all, he becomes equal. Humans should become equal with others. So that is the deep economy, modern ethics quote. It is giving you all the four models I taught, everything you can apply in this quote. Homo sapiens, nicely put it. This is another writer. I mean, those three writers enough. That's enough. The rest of them also good, but if you want, you can read. Unless we practice conservation, those who come after us will have to pay the price of misery, degradation, and failure for the progress and prosperity of our day. These are this kind of quotes you get in the book in the boxes. So there are more quotes there you should read. So now we come to the important moment of our learning. Just stop the camera for a while. The following discussion is about Mahatma Gandhi, and he named the following three concepts that we are going to discuss as village economics, which means Swadeshi, Swaraj, Sarvodaya. These three concepts are discussed in Lavla Tosi. Pope doesn't use these words anyway, but every page he uses be local, that is Swadeshi. Use local resources and don't import stuff, and you care for the local ecology. Preserve your local soil, water, air. Pope again and again he is teaching that we should safeguard the local mountains and lakes. That is Swadeshi. Be Indian by Indian. So protect your own resources. Every page Pope is talking about Swadeshi. And also he is talking about Swaraj. Swaraj means it is the ethics, morals, values, behavior. In other words, Pope is telling, if you are marked in your inside of yourself with greed and violence and hate and anger, the outside world also will reflect the same. So what you are, that what you become, what you receive. That is Swaraj. So in the inner dimension, if you have all the evil sentiments, evil mindset, outside also will be evil only. So if I ask, how is India? India is very bad. No, India is not bad. You are bad. So that is the outcome only. So Mahatma Gandhi says the inner Swaraj, outer Swaraj. So in the inner Swaraj, that is inner dimension of each and every man, if he is good, if he is merciful, if he has empathy, kindness, forgiveness, tolerance, the outer Swaraj also will reflect good, empathy, mercy, forgiving. So if I ask, how is India? You say, very good, Father, excellent. So it is not India that is excellent, because you are excellent. So that is the teaching what Pope Francis is also giving. Pope Francis very often, he writes that the inner, in other words, the erosion of ethical principles caused the ecological crisis. Today in Pindam, we experience global warming, climate change, extinction of species, drought, and flooding, soil erosion, etc., overpopulation, everything we are experiencing outside. But that is the outcome of your own failure of practicing ethics. So the death of ethics caused all these troubles. So Pope is again calling back, you better change yourself in the inner dimension and restore the values, dignity and ethics. Be good. Then outer world also will reflect the same. So Pope is writing again and again the Swaraj concept. The next is Sarvodaya. Sarvodaya means welfare of all. Welfare. Sarva means all. Udaya means welfare or upliftment of all, welfare of all. Or in Christian ethics we call it common good. Common good. That is Sarvodaya. Our species is marked by self-interest. All other species in nature only common interest. They work for the common good of the universe. All their living and non-living, except one species, they work for the common good of the cosmos, planet, ecosystem and universe. Only one species works for self-interest. That is humans, Homo sapiens. So Pope is writing again and again the Sarvodaya concept. But Pope doesn't give any credit to Mahatma Gandhi. It's all right, no problem. But still, Mahatma Gandhi ideas are being repeated again and again and again in Laudato Si. So, for that matter, it is very important that you should understand these three concepts in depth in order to interpret Laudato Si in Indian setting. So in the Indian setting, in order to proclaim, you need to understand the Indian background, and only you will be able to present it. Even Hindus can listen, even BJP can appreciate when you present it in the Indian setting. So that's why I want to go a little deeper and explain it to you. So Swadeshi means neighborliness. Neighborliness, that is the meaning. Jesus himself talked, who is your neighbor? Jesus talks about Swadeshi. Actually, the Good Samaritan theme, we can call it in Mahatma Gandhian term, Swadeshi parable. Swadeshi parable. Yeah. Neighborliness. Neighborliness, according to Mahatma Gandhi, you see, all of you look at me. The welfare of the neighbor is paramount. That is important for each and every one of us. That is how nature works. All organisms, they take care of their neighbors. So we also should take care of them. Where is your neighbor? Who is your neighbor? Someone asked Jesus. Then he gave the parable. But I am asking, who is your neighbor? Mahatma Gandhi, I am asking, who is my neighbor? So Mahatma Gandhi teaches unbelievable. After 2000 of Jesus Christ, Mahatma Gandhi is much deeper than the parable itself. Mahatma Gandhi says, your neighbor is in front, back, right, left, up and down. Immediate neighbor. Not the next one, no. My immediate neighbor is this red shirt. You are not. I don't care about others. I care about one me. That is Swadeshi. That is immediate neighbor. So it need not be a human being. In Jesus' terms, it is a human being. But in Mahatma Gandhian teaching, it is not a human being necessarily. On my left may be human. On my right may be a dog, a wounded dog. So I have to look the welfare of the dog. Under my feet, soil. It is non-living. It is polluted, fertilizers and chemicals. It is wounded and bleeding. I have to clean it up. On my above, I see atmosphere with greenhouse gases, global warming, climate change. Immediately, I should do something about it. In my front, maybe frogs. They don't have water. I give water. At the back, probably some plant is drying out and I take care of the plant. Maybe the plant is not producing fruit, so I give them some fertilizer, not fertilizer, some nutrients, maybe some cow dung. As Jesus told, manure it. Jesus also teaching, manure it, take care of it. So this is the immediate neighbor only. In today's context, people say, act locally, think globally. Have you ever heard about it? You never heard about it. Act locally, think globally. So if I take care of my immediate neighbor, that immediate neighbor should take care of his immediate neighbor. Alright? It goes as a chain reaction. So everybody is taken care of. Nobody is left as an orphan. Nobody left behind. Nothing is left behind. All the living and the non-living parts are covered. See, Mahatma Gandhi's teaching goes one step deeper than Jesus himself. After 2000 years, we get the beautiful lesson from him. And also he goes still further, Mahatma Gandhi. He says, Swadeshi means we have deep respect for the local, the native life. Go for the native languages. No English. Go for native language. Go for native food. Don't go for pizza. Fast food. Indian dress. Indian school system. Indian lifestyle. And Indian habits. Indian education. Indian spirituality. There only came little problem because we didn't understand, we misunderstood. Christians and our brothers, Muslims, we always misunderstand when it comes to religion. We get always wrong because somebody instigates and spoils it. Mahatma Gandhi never told, he never talked about Christianity and Islam. He loved them both. He told, be Indian in belief also. He told, remain as a Hindu. If you don't like Hindu gods, purge them. That is the word he used. Purge it. Purge it means you convert it according to your liking. That is the meaning. That is the meaning. If you don't like Hindu gods and temples, you convert it according to your liking. That is what he said. That's why in Hinduism we have Ishta Devata. You know Ishta Devata? That's why in India 30 million gods and goddesses are existing. So if you don't like Hindu gods, what you are being taught, you find your own God. That's it. But remain in Indian thought. Then only progress will happen. Otherwise there will be partition. Otherwise there is destruction, ruin. His words have come to pass. He told the truth. So there are two religions like Christian and Islam. We both are all the time. We get everything wrong. Whatever they say in India, the leaders say, we misinterpret. Actually, our people at the top, they are good. They mean it good. But some people really instigate and provoke and spoil everything. Life is simple, we complicate. So in Indian leaders, they have done a good job. We should appreciate it. And when we are not cooperating, our nation can improve, our nation can progress. That's why Gandhi told, we should be one mind and one heart. Even if you don't believe in God, remain as a Hindu. Hindu means not a religious context. It's a cultural name. You are a Hindu, I am a Hindu, everybody is a Hindu. All the bishops are Hindus. Those who are born in India, they are Hindus. Even the Muslims are Hindus. So that is what Hindu means. Hindu means those who live beyond Indus River. When you look from Pakistan, from the west, they call Indians live beyond Indus River. They are known as Hindus. That's a cultural background. So we are all Hindus. So actually we will benefit if you remain as the people of this land in mind, body, spirit. We will benefit, our children will benefit, our future generations will benefit. So I will read the Swadeshi and finish it off, and then when we come back we will move on. Okay, listen to me carefully. Swadeshi is that spirit in us which restricts us to the use and service of our immediate surroundings, to the exclusion of the more remote. In the domain of politics, I should make use of the indigenous institutions and serve them by curing them of their proved defects. In that of economics, I should use only things that are produced by my immediate neighbors and serve those industries by making them efficient and complete where they might be found wanting. It is suggested that such Swadeshi, if reduced to practice, will lead to the millennium, because we do not expect quite to reach it within our times. So may we not abandon Swadeshi, even though it may not be fully attained for generations to come. Even if you don't follow, even if you follow after 500 years, it is okay, that's what it says. So it is already plenty of time to think about this concept and steer our people's attitude towards Indian, that is neighborliness, in front, back, left, right, above and down. All right? Dismissed. Your soil, your water, your trees, your animal life, that is more important. They provide free services for you and for your children and your generations. Once you allow somebody to take them out, and you are losing it. Imagine your people are coming, some politicians are coming and looting your mountain, and you are keeping quiet. That is sad. Imagine somebody comes and puts a building in the lake. So Swadeshi means open your eyes and see your setting where you live and try to make a difference. they need your help, you should provide your help. There is a trouble, talk about it. If somebody is causing some trouble, you should do something about it. You should bring the law and prohibit that action. Keep your own setting clean. That is very important. So we come to Swaraj. There is inner Swaraj and outer Swaraj. So inner Swaraj means it is inside your consciousness. If your consciousness is greedy, angry, violent, so outside also will be the same. If your consciousness is clean with love and empathy and mercy and kindness, goodness, outside also will reflect the same. This is how you rule. Rule means Swaraj, self-rule. That is what it means. Swa means me. Raj means rule. Swaraj means self-rule. How you rule yourself. That is how outside rule will be. When you say Modi government is bad, it is not Modi government is bad. It is you are bad. You are bad. So you don't have any right to call Modi government is bad. No. Only you are bad. So try to fix your problem in that level. If you fix your problem, Modi government will be good. Perfect. So the government is not the object or subject. Actually, sorry, government is not the subject that is good or bad. You are the subject. That is only object. That's only outcome. That is what Mahatma Gandhi wrote. He taught. He told we don't need any president. We don't need any prime minister. You don't need any pope or a cardinal or archbishop or a bishop or a parish priest. He rejected all the rules. No rule we don't need because I can rule myself. Ultimately, I am the president. I am the prime minister. I am the pope, the cardinal and cardinal and the parish. I am the superstar. Each and every one of us is superstar because you are able to rule yourself. Of course, good ruling ends up in good country. The bad ruling will end up in the bad country. So I want to read to you. Listen carefully if you missed my explanation, illustration. Swaraj means self-rule. Gandhi gave it the content of an integral revolution that encompasses all spheres of life. At the individual level, Swaraj is vitally connected with the capacity for dispassionate self-assessment, ceaseless self-purification, and growing self-reliance. Economically, Swaraj means full economic freedom for the toiling millions. And in its fullest sense, Swaraj is much more than freedom from all restraints. It is self-rule, self-restraint, and could be equated with moksha or salvation. See? It is more or less like an individualistic celebration. Again, it comes to individual level. The society changes, individual changes. The individual conversion leads to the society conversion. That is what Pope writes. Ecological conversion. Yesterday I was talking about it. The individual conversion leads to the community conversion. So that is the Swaraj principle. So each and every page Pope is repeating these three principles again and again and again. Each paragraph we can read and then we can weigh it with these three principles. Okay, this paragraph is about, is it Swadeshi, is it Swaraj, or Sarvodaya? That is the best way to look at it. You take a paragraph and read it And you tell, yes, Father, this is Swaraj concept. It sounds like that. No, Father, it's a Sarvodaya, Father. It talks about the welfare of all. See, that is a discussion, fantastic discussion we can do. In order to do that, you should understand these three basic concepts clearly. It should be clear in your mind. Otherwise, you will misinterpret all the incidents. So you make your mind sharp. Because you are going to present Laudato Si in Indian soil. In order to do that, you should know Indian principles. Otherwise, if you say Pope Francis is saying all that, nobody will accept. They will reject it. You better, you talk Pope Francis's ideas in these three concepts. Swadeshi, Swaraj, Sarvodaya. Nobody will say no. They will go, wow, that sounds fantastic. Mahatma Gandhi wrote in 1905. It's almost 115, 16 years now. Yeah. India discarded all of it. But today the world is talking about it. Whole world. The United Nations organizations, all those conferences talk about these three principles. Only Swaraj, Swadeshi, and Sarvodaya. So we come to the last one, Sarvodaya. Sarva means all, Udaya means welfare. I mean, as I said earlier, only one species is marked by self-interest. All other species in the cosmos, they work for common interest, known as common good. Common. St. Thomas Aquinas discusses about common good at length in his Summa Theologica. So common good is the purpose of human beings. We should work for the common interest, not for self-interest. Unfortunately, all the 8 billion people are driven out by a wrong perception of self-interest. Renewal could be achieved only in this level. If you work for common good, then we can renew everything. That is the basic requirement. Otherwise, we will end up in the same business as usual mindset. We will not bring out any change. Yes, I am afraid we will end up very soon. Our end has come. So, what is the meaning of Sarvodaya again? The welfare of the non-living is the welfare of the living. If the soil, water, air, all are good, living also will be good. If you destroy them, we will be destroyed. In other words, if you destroy nature, then nature will destroy you. What goes around, comes around. Yes. Even Pope Francis wrote, if you destroy nature, nature will destroy you. No doubt. No doubt. So we are connected. We are connected. The upliftment of the non-living world is the upliftment of humanity. Yeah. Because we are in nature. We are interdependent. We are not dependent. We are not independent. We are interdependent all the time. Without them, we can't exist. But without us, they can exist. That is the truth. Without us, they can exist. Tomorrow, if 8 billion people today disappear, tomorrow sun will rise, moon will rise, birds will sing, monkeys will come and eat. Everything is normal. But if they all disappear, you will not be able to exist. You disappear. If you disappear, they all exist. Yes. There is a small poem I wrote, basing myself on this illustration. You go, they don't go. You go, they don't go. They go, you go. That is the point. You go, in other words, you disappear. They don't go, they don't disappear. But they disappear, you disappear. That is the meaning of it. You go, they don't go. They go, you go. You go, they don't go. They go, you go. That is the ultimate truth of it. For Sarvodaya principle, this poem you can remember. You can make a drama or a rap music or some kind of dance. You can make this use of these words and make a melody out of it. You go, they won't go, they go, you go. Then you explain to the people. First you explain to the people what is the meaning of it. And then you can enact or you can put up a small play on that. So I will continue to read Sarvodaya. You listen carefully. Sarvodaya is a Sanskrit term meaning universal uplift or progress of all. The term was used by Mahatma Gandhi as the title of his 1908 translation of John Ruskin's Tracts on Political Economy, Unto This Last. And Gandhi came to use the term for the ideal of his own political philosophy. Later Gandhians, like the Indian non-violent activist Vinoba Bhave, embraced the term as a name for the social movement in post-independence India, which strove to ensure that self-determination and equality reached all strata of Indian society. So the librarian, you write that book, Unto This Last, by John Ruskin. That is the book you read. Unto This Last. John Ruskin. Mahatma Gandhi read that book completely and he developed the Sarvodaya concept. You know the second person, the famous person here in the blue color, Vinoba Bhave. How many of you know about Vinoba Bhave? Anybody? Heard about Vinoba Bhave? You heard about him? At least one person. I am so happy. I think he is another superstar of Indian history, Vinoba Bhave. Actually, this man thought that every Indian should have land. He started a movement called Bhutan movement in 1940s. He walked India barefoot 3 times and he collected land for the landless. First it started in Pochampalli in Andhra. Andhra was the first place where the movement was started successfully. Mahatma Gandhi, I think he was living at the time, so Vinoba Bhave completely went on foot. And we collected almost 40 or 60 million hectares of land. And then we distributed the land to the poor, plus farmers, those who didn't have land at all. The tactics of getting land, Vinoba Bhave was very innovative. He went to the landlords everywhere, especially in Andhra, and he told to the landlord, "My dear landlord," he always addressed, "My dear father," he addressed, "Father, Appa, you have 3 sons, I know, and consider me as a 4th son, okay, and you give me my share. In love I employ you." Then the landlords really relented and they yielded, and they gave equal portion to Vinoba Bhave. And the Vinoba collected, as I said, 40, 60 million hectares. That's a lot of land. And he distributed to the poor. So, such a great man, Vinoba Bhave, you should be able to Google him and read about him. He never got married, and he has a beautiful, beautiful ashram in Khammam near Nagpur, Sevagram, in Madhya Pradesh. There's ashram, you can go and stay there. Vinoba Bhave died only in 1982. You go and see his ashram. He led a simple life, very simple life. Talking about our lifestyle, we should really follow Vinoba Bhave. He is a saint to me. I went and stayed in the ashram, and he is the He every day what he did, morning he took a basket and he walked 4 or 5 kilometers every day morning by 6 o'clock, and he went to a village and everybody was making dirty on the road. Early morning children all making kaka, no? Everywhere on the road, outside. Nobody can step inside. So Vinoba Bhave went every day morning and he collected the excretion of the people. He never told one word, never spoken. He collected everything and he took it and put it in one of the places where the cow dung was made manual. And he removed every day morning till 11 o'clock. He carried and then he took bath in the local well and he was coming back. At least for 6-8 months, almost a year, he did the same thing. And at last people began to observe, who is that man? Anyway, slowly they asked, he never spoke anything. He never told you clean it up, nothing. Instead of talking to them, he just did it in action. That caught fire and villagers started to clean it up. And then they disciplined their children not to do that. So within 1 year, that village completely became clean, and that village is there even today. So he made success there and then he went to some other village. So that is how he spent most of his time. But there is no work outside. He worked from 9 to 11 or 12 in the garden alone, taking and cultivating. He believed you have to cultivate own food. No cash is allowed because there is no buying and selling. You have to produce your own food. And milk, everything is produced there. So no money and no own buying outside, nothing at all. We don't need any money. We can generate our own income. So Swaraj, Sarvodaya. So such a beautiful idea. So India has forgotten all the good men and they are thinking on only Ambani, Adani, Budani, Mudani. With these things, everybody is after. Nobody talks about Vinoba Gandhi. Nothing of that sort. See where we have come. So now if you ask how is India, what is going to reflect? You can't get good India when you have this kind of mindset. So completely, these 3 principles have to be reread, reinterpret, reconstruct. A new philosophy that will benefit to you and to the future generations. So I think these 3 are vitally important. Don't forget, you have to educate more. So you read more and then learn yourself. So some of the quotes on environmental ethics I want to read from the Western world. David Frawley, eminent teacher and practitioner of Ayurvedic medicine, he writes as follows. Listen to him carefully. He's an American and he talks about Hindu culture, how beautifully he talks about it. Our Indian culture, Hindu culture, how rich we are in biological wealth. Sare jaga se acha. Americans, they are saying it. We don't say anything at all. No religion, perhaps, lays as much emphasis on environmental ethics as does Hinduism. It believes in ecological responsibility and says, like Native Americans, that the earth is our mother. It champions protection of animals, which it considers also have souls, and promotes vegetarianism. It has a strong tradition of non-violence or ahimsa. It believes that God is present in all nature, in all creatures, and in every human being, regardless of their faith or lack of it. Wow!